Hello, this is Max.
Hey, good morning, Max, or it might be afternoon where you're at.
Yes.
My name is John Watzenbacher. I'm calling you from the communist country of California. My my partner said that we are interested in a deal that you've got on, is it Deltona there in St.
Yes.
Augustine?
Yes.
What is going on? It looks like a beautiful property. Trying to figure
Yeah.
out what we're trying to accomplish here, my man.
Yeah. So he sent me a pretty nice letter of intent that was it was close to something that could work.
Okay.
Right now I sold this guy a house midway through last year. I think we closed in like September or something like that.
Okay.
Anyways, the house was totally livable. It was actually in great condition. But it was a little dated. So right now he's working on renovating that. And so with that being said, he's still living in this Deltona house for sale.
Okay.
So basically he's in no rush at all, but he'd be open to selling to you guys around the 480, 490, 70 numbers that we discussed.
Okay.
If he could live there for a year. So he's open to working that into the contract, which could effectively make it like a 467 purchase price if it was put into the contract that way. But he would like to stay there a year. That's pretty much non-negotiable at the lower price, at the 470, 480, 490 range. Other than that, we're pretty much in agreement with most of your guys' terms. If you would allow him to live there for a year, I think we could make something work.
Okay, so I have not seen the LOI. I was just told to give you a call and put this on paper. So I'm looking at comps in the area. Nothing has sold anywhere near that number. Am I missing something?
Well, kind of, because he's added an entire upstairs master suite. Bless you. Which, he's a general contractor, and they did an excellent job on it. So it is a pretty, it adds a lot to the house. It's on a bigger lot. A lot of the houses are smaller in the neighborhood, which is the main reason why you're not seeing a bunch of comps.
Okay.
And I can read you some of the terms from the letter of intent that you guys sent over.
Okay, yeah, I'm just looking at this. I want to try to figure out how to put this deal together because it looks like he only owes and I'm not looking at it. It's like 38,000, something like that.
Right.
So the rest of it would have to be. This is what we would call a hybrid deal, right? We would buy this thing subject to, and we would have a separate seller financing aspect of this. So I would have to put those two things together and figure out how this makes sense. But it looks like, is it Cortoro Lane? There's one that sold 1,488 square feet for $330,000, a little bit smaller lot. But that one was built in 1973, on the market for 14 days. Yours
I actually sold that one. That was his property. That was kind of some of the unpacking he was doing.
Gotcha.
To make his purchase work on the house he's currently renovating.
Gotcha.
So that was his smaller house, slightly smaller lot, if I'm not mistaken.
Slightly smaller lot, 7,400 versus the 95 that he's currently in.
And the interior wasn't quite as pristine as this one.
Okay.
This one it truly is in great condition on the inside. New carpet, new floors, new kitchen completely. The upstairs master suite and all the other 3 bedrooms are fit as well. Right.
I'm looking at it. I mean, it's a beautiful house. There's no doubt about it. I could see why we want it. I've just got to figure out how we're going to pay for this if in it.
Sure.
Is this the master bathroom with this like bamboo tile looking with 12,000?
Yep. That'll be your upstairs master suite. Yes, sir.
Dude, how many knobs to control the water are there in this thing? Oh my God.
It's definitely a fancy shower.
Oh my God. Oh, dude, the Pac-Man is solid. What is up with that? There's like Pac-Man wallpaper or something?
Yeah. He's got it tricked out for his kids.
Oh, that's fire right there.
It's a nice house. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm digging this thing. All right. All right, so the backyard space looks nice. We have no pool at this location, correct? No pool.
Right. No pool, but definitely room for one, I would think.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, you can see kind of that upstairs suite is pretty awesome. The walk-in closet, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the letter of intent that your guy sent over, he was at 470,000.
Okay.
Buyer will take over mortgage payment on seller's loan.
Okay.
For some reason, he wrote in with a remaining balance of $300K, but he only owes $138, like we said.
Right. So $138K. Okay.
So he said in this letter of intent, buyer pays all closing costs. Buyer pays seller $10,000 cash from equity at close of escrow.
Okay.
But then my buyer came back, and I'll read you some of the stuff he proposed.
Yep.
So this is what my buyer kind of wants to make it work with you guys. He wants a sale price of $490.
Okay, let me write this down. So please. I'm going to start at 490,000, and then we're going to subtract. How much is the balance on that? I'm not looking at it. Is it 132?
His loan on the property is 138,573.
Let's call it 139.
That sounds good.
Okay, so that leaves us $351,000. That would be a seller financing portion of it. Okay, now we're on the same page. Go for it, my man.
Okay, he said that you guys could, because in your original letter of intent, you guys also mentioned paying the commission.
Okay.
And then in his kind of counter proposal, he suggested splitting the commission, $12,250 each side. So that would be $12,250 for you guys, $12,250 for him.
Okay.
He's also in agreement to split the closing costs. So again, that's kind of in y'all's favor because the original letter said that you guys would pay everything.
Right.
So he's cool with splitting commission, 5%. He's cool with splitting closing cost. His loan is $139, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
Now this might be where I don't know, a speed bump is that we run into. At closing, he would want to get a check of approximately $330K. I don't know if that's
how that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure what type of funds you guys have. If you guys are,
well, I mean, I'm overpaying for the property, so that's the first hurdle. There's no way this house is worth $550,000, and I only say that because nothing has sold in that neighborhood anywhere near that amount. So the one on there's one for $330 that's sold that's a little bit smaller. There's one for $250 that's sold that's a little bit smaller. There's one for $354 that's bigger and built in 2003. That's not even a direct comp. Yeah,
interesting. Again, the pricing is mainly due to him not really being in a hurry.
Oh yeah,
and also the kind of the personalized touches he's done in the master suite, in the kitchen, etc. So I understand the pricing's a little bit higher, but I know you guys are interested, or we wouldn't even be speaking.
Sure.
So, that's kind of the reason for his pricing. He's just really in no rush at this time, and kind of all the work he's done. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you guys would get this money to him either. I don't know if you guys are just interested in doing like the seller financing and assuming his loan. So there really would
now
be
wait, hang on a second. We're not assuming the loan. We're buying this subject to, which means that the loan's going to stay in his name.
Okay.
There's no assuming in this. We're buying this subject to the current mortgage that's already in place because we like that interest rate. But I could go to the bank and they would send out an appraiser. Do you think this house is going to appraise for $550,000?
That's hard to say, honestly. I would like to say yes.
Right.
But that's hard to say if it will or not for $550.
Right. So basically, if I go to the bank, at the most, I'm going to have to put down 20%. Obviously, the interest rate's going to be a lot higher.
Right.
And then he's going to get charged capital gains tax, whatever that is. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a tax guy.
Right.
So I don't mess with any of that. But basically, the way I structure these things are, let's pretend I had $100,000 house, Max, and I could sell you that for $1 million. Pretty positive you would say no to that deal, right?
Right.
But if I had $100,000 house, I could sell you for $1 million, but your payment, let's just say it was $500 a month, and you knew you could rent it out for $1,000 a month. That's what I buy. I buy cash flow. As long as I got more money coming in than I got going out, I can make absolutely any deal work. Now, coming to the table with $330,000, it does not make sense. Like, I can give him his price, but he's got to give me my terms. We can't do both. So if
that makes sense.
Yeah, if he wants his price, I can structure it in a way. Like, I could pay $1 billion for this thing, but the terms would be I would pay you $1 a day until it's paid off. That doesn't make sense for your seller. So I'm trying to figure out a way. But, we can give him more than $10,000 down, but I can't get anywhere near the 330. Like he's pulling all the levers in his direction.
Right. I'm with you. I'm understanding a little more clear now where you guys are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, what dollar amount do you think you could get closing, just so I can give him a figure, kind of, something?
Yeah, usually we don't like to be more than 10% all in. So if I'm coming in at $550 purchase price, I've got to include, the commissions in there. And it sounds like there's 5%. You're taking both sides of the equation. So, you'd only be representing the seller. You wouldn't be representing us. So maybe we can shave some money there.
Certainly, it's possible, yes.
Okay. But, I'm pretty confident that with a 10% entry fee, we can get this deal done. And then the other problem is, how do I make any money on this thing if he's living in it?
Right. He wants to pay $2,300 a month, which is pretty much on par with market value. So as you know, that comes out to $27,600. I don't know if that's a good number for you for the first year, or not. But that's kind of where he's at. He would need and want to live there for the year. So, whether it works for you guys, I guess is up to you at that point.
So let's just pretend that I went to the bank. I paid $550,000. I only put $50,000 down. A 30-year mortgage at 7.125%. It's kind of the average. I'm gonna probably have to pay more because I'm not living in it. That's $3,797. So I'd be taking a huge L at $2,300 a month. So, he's got to get realistic about what this is. Let me see here. Rent-o-meter. Let me see what this thing would lease for. You have any idea what it would lease for?
2,300 is pretty.
Is that
close.
What it is? Okay.
You could probably get a little bit more. If you listed it, it's a 4-bedroom, 3 full baths.
It's a 4 and 3. Okay, let's just say it's a house. Let me check the rents in that area. Yeah, the average is about $2,375.
Right.
So I would be completely upside down. That's why I've got to figure out how to pencil this in a way that it's going to make financial sense. If I'm going to put somebody in it at $2,300 a month,
year.
Yeah. Well, even after that, like I've got to figure out how to cash flow this thing. I can't take an L on that. Well, it's kind of in his court. Like if we were at $3,000 a month, is that a deal killer for him?
I don't know if it's necessarily a deal killer. I guess at that point it would depend on the purchase price and then how much he could get at closing. I think is the two main factors on that.
Okay, those are the two levers. Okay.
I would think so, yes.
If we gave $1,000 at the closing table, is that something that that we can get a deal done, or are we way apart?
Unfortunately, I think we're apart, but let me run this by him because we haven't talked super in depth about,
Okay.
if he could take less at closing. So let me see about this. Let me see if he could take less at closing. Let me see if he would be open to coming up on the rental price.
Okay.
And then I keep hearing you say the list price. Is that something you guys would pay to make it work?
Yeah, I don't even care what the numbers, like I don't care what the end number is. That's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter what I pay for the house. What matters is what I can do for the house once I acquire it. And this is a unique situation where I'm not even going to have possession of this house.
Right.
And I'm going to need some sort of, some of that down payment in an escrow account, because there's no guarantee that this house is going to be in the same condition a year from now than it is right now.
Right. Right.
We can work something out. The bottom line is this house isn't going anywhere at $550,000. There's not a bank in the world that's going to come in just based on what I can see on paper as far as comps in the area. I get it. He's not in a hurry. But I mean, you want to get paid. So I would assume you're kind of in a hurry.
Sure. You could say something like that. Sure. Yeah. So let me get this right with you one more time. If we can make a couple terms on his side move, you wouldn't mind paying list price. Am I hearing that right?
Well, I mean, we can make that work. We can definitely, he's got all the levers pulled in his direction. He's telling me how much he's got to pay for the house and how much he's willing to pay in rent and how long he's going to stay. Sure. Like, I'm trying to work out something that makes sense. So,
for both, yes.
I don't know what I don't know. I can overpay for the house if he gives me my terms. My terms, there could be a deal somewhere in here, but nowhere near $330,000 at the closing table. I think I could buy a house in the neighborhood for the exact price. I mean, he just sold one, right? That was a little bit smaller.
Right.
And that one sold in 14 days at 330. This one's been on the market, 142 days. I think it's going to have a birthday before it sells at 550.
You might be right about that. So let me talk with him and see if he's willing to move on some of these terms.
Okay.
The main one for you guys would obviously be the amount of money he would be able to get at closing is the main one.
Yep.
And then it sounds like secondly would be the rent price would need to be higher.
Yeah, we would have to figure it out. So depending on, once you let's just start with the down payment. Once we get the down payment figured out, then I can reverse engineer. Hey, I'm paying $600 and some odd to the bank. I'm assuming that includes the taxes and the insurance, because the insurance is a whole nother story out in Florida. With the hurricanes and everything, like it is absolutely carnage trying to get a realistic insurance quote out there. Have you had the same problem?
At times, definitely we've had some issues. Yes.
Okay.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm just looking over some of these terms and seeing what he would be able to move on.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess at this point, just let me reach out to him and see. Will you tell me your first name one more time?
I can text you too. It's John Motzenbacher. I'm a broker out here in California. The company I work for is called Real Broker. But I can text you all of my contact information.
Yeah, please. That'd be cool. Yeah, so basically let me see if he can move on the down payment, and let me see if he can move on the rent, and I'll let him know that you'd be willing to be closer to list price if he can move on these terms.
Yeah, I mean, we can figure out something that makes sense for both of us. Like, I'm not too keen on letting him stay in the house, but I get it. If that's the term that he needs, then, we're going to have to figure it out. But I have to have more money coming in than I got going out. I can't take an L.
Sure, of course.
Let me see, 559 houses.
If you could try to write up some type of, doesn't have to be a formal letter, but if you could like email me kind of maybe based off our conversation, maybe some updated terms or like a very rough letter of intent. That way I can kind of show him where you're at and see if we can kind of blend together and get somewhere.
Okay, that sounds good, my man. Let me get to work on that. I'm penciling up a couple of offers, so I'm texting you over my contact information right now.
Gotcha.
You should have all of that. And let's figure out what a realistic down payment is, because 330 is not.
Sure. No, I'm with you on that. Yeah, this is cool. This is cool, John. Let me talk to him, and if you could send me something like I was just saying, kind of just some bullet points of based off our conversation, and so I can kind of show him where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
A little easier. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I mean, if he wants to hop on a phone call where I and him, kind of hash it out and figure it out, I have no problem doing that. I've closed deals in 26 out of the 50 states. I do this all day, every single day. We can make a deal work. The terms just need to match the offer. Like, it's got to be a win-win for everybody involved, or the house is just going to sit on the market, and we'll circle every 30 days or whatnot to see what the deal is. But it sounds like, this is going to be on the market for another year, period.
That's possible at this price. He is a very laid back guy. So a three-way phone call might be the easiest way to make this, to figure out if we're going to make something happen or not.
Perfect. Talk to him about the down payment, and then get back to me, and then I can reverse engineer it from there.
Okay, cool.
Appreciate it, my man. Have a great day. Take care.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.